This video will take a look at how to add transactions to the system. There are three main ways to do this. You can search the quick search bar for the individual or organization, and then use the add receipt or disbursement functions here. You can search for the individual or organization from the contacts menu, and then add a receipt or disbursement here. Or you can go through the financial register directly using this link, or you can actually choose the type of transaction you're trying to add from the list here. When you go to the register itself, you'll see a list of the transaction types along the right-hand side, and you'll see the register on the left-hand side. In this case, I'm going to show you how to add both a contribution and an expense. They work very similarly. They just have a couple of different fields to fill in. First thing you'll want to do is search for your contributor. If the record already exists in the system, it will be populated in the list here. If the record does not exist, you'll just see a message here that says that no records are found, and then you can actually add a new individual, organization, or committee from this screen. Choosing this blue button will open up this particular record on the left-hand side of the screen so you can see the details, make sure that it's the correct person, or add any additional information that you've received since the last time you've updated the record. You'll go ahead and fill in the fields with the amount, the date, payment method. Those types of details can all be entered in this section here. These drop-down fields are sticky fields, and that will be important when you're trying to add transactions that share a bunch of similar information. So maybe you have 25 checks from an event. They're all probably going to have the same event, probably the same date. Things like the election period and account may be the same. So you can actually set this up on your first transaction, and then you can use the Save and Next button at the bottom. And the only thing you'll have to change is the name and the amount. Once you have the information filled in, if you use the Save button, the information on the left-hand side of the screen will be saved in case you've updated anything. And then the information on the right-hand side of the screen will be saved, and you'll see a new entry in your register. Note that when you do use the Save button here, this same transaction remains the active transaction. You can see this changes into the Edit Contribution window instead of the Add Contribution. So if you were to actually search for a new name here, and then save that transaction, what you've actually done is change that transaction from Robert Holden to Heather Holden instead of adding a new transaction for Heather Holden. So anytime you're looking to add a new transaction and then go on to the next transaction, you'll want to make sure that you're using the Save and Next button. When we do that on the Heather Holden transaction, what we get is the same Add Contribution screen that we started with, and you'll notice that the contributor field now is empty, and you'll search for the next contributor. Now we can see we have a transaction for both Robert and Heather Holden. If you were to be adding a new record to the system at the same time as the transaction, Using the new Add Individual button, what you'll get is a new record on the left-hand side of the screen where you can go ahead and fill in the information like the address, phone, email, occupation, employer, and those types of things. And then you can go ahead and close, save and close, save all, or continue on with the transaction and save. Like we saw originally, that will save the information on this side here. To go back to the list of transactions, we just use the little left arrow. Adding a new expense works the same way. You just have some different fields that need to be filled in, and there is an extra button at the top here that shows a reversal. So if you needed to process a refund, something like that, that would be done using the reversal button. The other field that you'll see on the expenses that you don't find in contributions is the reporting code, and these are typically required fields both for the FEC and most states. Once the information is filled in, again, saving it will keep the transaction open. Saving it next will move on to the next transaction.